A hot topic in the world of football today is concussions. What they are and what they do to your brain is something that has sparked much heated debate about how the sport of football is played in recent years. One thing that almost anyone can agree on is that concussions are bad. They can cause irreversible brain damage that can be catastrophic to someone's well-being. I played football throughout high school and into college, and although I have not been officially diagnosed, repeated head collisions, I believe, has led to an inability for me to focus like I used to. This is somewhat alarming to see, and what is even more alarming is to think that only one piece of small equipment stands between football players and traumatic brain injury: the helmet. Today, I will be showing you a glimpse into the history of that one piece of equipment that attempts to balance the violence that is the sport of football with the mental well-being of its players. The early football helmets were honestly nothing more than padded hats. The soft leather helmets looked like aviators' caps with a couple more layers than what a pilot would normally wear. Early protective equipment was not really anything that did much to protect the brains of players. In addition to the inadequacy of said equipment, the issue of head trauma was compounded by the fact that even this early rudimentary equipment was not even required. Helmets were optional and not everyone wore one until after 1940. Mental health was not necessarily something that was prioritized in this time period either, and there are really no statistics regarding concussions at this point in time. However, if we recognize that concussions are an issue with the advanced equipment that we have today, it can be safe to assume that concussions ran rampant in a time whenever head protection was inadequate and optional. Luckily for football players, this time period did come to an end. The most revolutionary advancement for football helmets was the introduction of polymers to the protective scene. In the 1950s, leather helmets were almost completely obsolete in football, according to Jonathan Croswell of SportsRec.com. By the 1950s, teams started using plastic helmets with padding set inside the helmet. This was a significant advancement that truly allowed players much more freedom with their playing styles because they were more protected than ever before. This did come at a cost, however, as the perceived safety of this new equipment allowed the game to become much more aggressive than ever before, with the head now being used as a weapon and players leading with the head while tackling. Because of this, concussion rates began to rise within the game, and people started paying more attention to the mental health of players. The general public began to realize that while many advancements had been made in the realm of safety, there was still a long way to go before the game could be considered truly safe. The introduction of the face mask came in 1953 after Browns quarterback Otto Graham suffered a jaw injury in a game and wanted to continue playing. This incident introduced the single bar face mask to the game of football, which evolved into double bar face masks in the 60s, and from the 70s on, face masks have been multi-barred. The invention of the chin strap was also a very simple addition to the helmet that helped keep it secure on the heads of players when they were knocking skulls on the gridiron. While the introduction of face masks and chin straps helped protect the heads of football players, concussions were becoming an even larger problem as the game continued its track of aggressiveness. According to PBS, one of the first instances of head trauma gaining national attention was when Troy Aikman took a knee to the head in the 1994 NFC Championship game, which landed him in the hospital. PBS also reported that in the year 2000, doctors Barry Jordan and Julian Bales said that when compared to players who did not report any concussions, the group with one or more concussions reported significantly more neurological symptoms. These included problems with memory and concentration, confusion, speech or hearing difficulties, numbness or tingling in extremities, and headaches. It was for this reason that football helmets quickly became more and more sophisticated. The introduction of shock-absorbing face masks by companies such as Schutt Sports in 2007 has been instrumental in helping the face as well as the front section of the brain of football players from traumatic injury. In recent years, companies like Rydell and Vices have introduced sections of helmets that can move freely to absorb head-on impacts, as well as helmets that have a somewhat softer exterior shelling with a stiffer interior to better absorb and stop external forces from reaching the brain. While concussions do still happen and players do still get injured, ESPN reports that as of 2018, concussion rates have fallen 23.8% from past numbers. This statistic just goes to show that as the history of the football helmet continues to be written, players are only becoming more protected from a variety of head injuries, and that the game is on track to becoming more safe than it ever has been.